Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dog.
Mike, it's good to see you. We're on an instant reaction Monday. This is not normal for us.
I like the instant reaction. It's fresh in our head. We're ready. We have football on the background. Week 2 is just ending. We can talk about week 3. It's good. It's fresh. I need the freshness. As you know, and I'm sure
that's why we're recording on a Monday. I was going to say we're recording today. Mike had to race to the microphone after his epic betting Sunday.
Went 5-0, but also it includes, if you want to include the pick'em eliminator pool, we went 9-0 in our picks. So it was a very good weekend.
What are we counting? Random eliminator pools to go 9-0? What is this?
So it's a big eliminator pool we joined, and we had 4 picks in there. We got all 4 right. We didn't think we were. So it was all I'm going to say. It was a great weekend.
I was going to say it's great. It's great that you're 5-0, and it's really, we're going to get into it. You're going to give us some tips on how you got to 5-0, what other people can do to get to be 5-0. But you're not the only one who's undefeated, Mike. The Miami Dolphins, we have gear on the sportshangover.co. It's available to buy right now. The Miami Dolphins are 2-0, 2 huge games on the road against solid teams, Chargers and Patriots, Staley and Belichick. Belichick looked lost in space as McDaniel was carving him up last night. I think, by the way, just throwing this out there, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick in this new era of football, they're out. They're not going to make it. Let's get both of them out. But the Dolphins are 2-0. I heard today the Dolphins might be the best team in the AFC. What do you think?
Well, we saw our friend Blake do a bet for the Super Bowl on our thread. And I think that might be also the downfall of it. A lot of people are jumping on the train. It's getting a little hyped here.
So that's the moment a team peaks, when someone puts long shot odds on them to win the Super Bowl. That's like the moment they peak.
But also I think you are nervous because of Tua. And if he does get hit, this is it. And look, he looked good last year too. And then he got hit. His head, I don't know how many concussions he had, but he can't have another one. So he's looking good. Everything's great. You guys are charging along. I love Mike McDaniels. He's great, running away from cameras. He's good. He's having fun with it. So I'm glad the team's having fun. I'm very excited. You guys are looking good. I don't know if you played like real competition yet after seeing both teams you played in the last 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. I think you might win your next home game because it's really hot. So I think that's good, but we'll see. I just don't want you to get your hopes up, really just settle them down a little bit.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because as a Dolphins fan, I stopped getting my hopes up as like a 12-year-old. I really haven't had hopes since I was in middle school. And right now is nothing new. They were like 4-0 to start last year. They have been doing this lately. Good, and you don't have to tell me to not get my hopes up because I was not the one who placed the Super Bowl bet. I did some math actually. And if I woke up every week 2 of my entire life, 35 NFL seasons I've been around now. That's a lot. So if I woke up and did a $25 bet every week 2 that the Dolphins would win the Super Bowl, I'd be out thousands of dollars. It would have never come true. I just want to reiterate for people who are betting on the Dolphins and believing this is real. The Dolphins have not won a Super Bowl since 1974.
It's been a while.
14 years before I was born. So it's really not going to happen. I'm really not having expectations high. But when we lead SportsCenter, when we're on Sunday Night Football, when people are all over Mike McDaniel and the offense, I'm here for it. It's an exciting time.
I love it. I mean, there's a lot of good games this weekend. That was a good one. I mean, it was I watched by myself. I had my 8 boxes. I had Octo boxes in my room. It was a lot to watch.
It kind of sucked how you had a better setup when you didn't have a party with us over. I kind of wish I came for the second setup.
Yeah, it was a nice setup. It was a lot to watch. You're kind of like all over the place, but you know where you have to like know where the games are that you're trying to like keep tabs on, because you really want to see like play by play, like how are you guys doing? Because when you find out how long red zone is between some of it. Some teams scored and it's like 5 minutes later we're finding out they're scoring over here. So
and that's why it's thank God for red zone and the no commercials.
Yes.
It's really hard going back to some of these primetime standalone games and watching like a full 3-hour game with commercials. It's like, what's going on? Where's the action?
I know.
And we'll get to this too, but Monday Night Football with 2 games at once tonight going on behind us. I mean, it's crazy. It's 4:40 on a Monday and we have one game already happening and one about to happen.
Well, also I want to talk about Deion Sanders and college football.
I do too.
I didn't watch any of the games. I tuned in maybe for like a few minutes, but I think overall, I think Deion Sanders is the best thing that's ever happened to college football. I think he's hyped up. This is what sports should be. It should be like a show. He's going out there. He's literally like The Rock, even though The Rock showed up at the thing.
That was
on
cool
Saturday
too. Yeah, celebrity counts. That's
Yeah.
a part of it.
But I think overall he's treating it like the WWE. He is out there, a performer, hyping people up, getting people ready. He's like, watch me at the end of the game, all this stuff. I love it. I'm not even watching, and I'm like, damn, this guy is bringing some hype to the team. And I think this is what college needed. At least for me, that's what college needed. It's really, really great.
I love it too. I have some thoughts on Dion. Can we play Big Dick Energy for
Yeah,
me?
let me find some Big Dick Energy.
Give it to Dion.
Where is Big Dick? Oh man, we haven't. There it is.
Big Dick Energy, winner of the week.
It's clearly Dion. And to your point, it started the day before. You're watching Pat McAfee on the Boulder campus. All the kids are drunk on Friday at noon, and Stephen A. Smith and First Take are there. It's like these people don't go to the University of Colorado for any normal reason. They've never been there before. They might never be there again. But Dion is bringing out, you're right, the celebs, the star power. It even got bigger than that. There was Friday Night WWE in downtown Denver at Ball Arena. Shout out to some of our friends who helped to build that in the city of Denver. And Pat McAfee's on stage wrestling. He calls out The Rock. Rock comes out at a wrestling event that never happens, all because of this Dion show. The next day, The Rock, the guest picker. Stadium was amazing. Listen, the thing about Dion that I love is that all this doesn't matter if they're losing games, if he's not delivering, but so far he is. And even in this second half, they were down in the third quarter to a Colorado State team. They lost their second best player, the two-way player, Travis Hunter, lacerated kidney or liver, I believe it was, on a late hit. The guy who hit him should be ejected from college football. That was stupid because now the Colorado player is going to miss these two upcoming games they have. So Dion keeps winning. They won in dramatic fashion. It was like after 2 a.m. Eastern, but it was still the highest rated game of the day, which never, ever happens. The late games are never rated that high. It's so great for college football. Now my question is, he's not going to stay at Colorado forever. Like, what's the next stop? And I actually have one. I have a Sports for you, and I want it noted here. In mid-September 2023, I'm calling Dion's next shot.
Okay.
He's going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's so easy to see.
Oh,
Jerry Jones needs the swag. Jerry Jones needs results. He's been running white boy after white boy. Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy. These guys are so boring. Dion is bringing life to football. And what happens when you bring life to college football? You always go to the NFL. The best players do. The best coaches do. Inevitably, we need Dion in the NFL. It's great what he's doing in college, but next year, Dallas Cowboys.
Does he go when his son goes? Does he try to get like a package deal? His son gets drafted. He goes with them somewhere. That could be kind of fun. I think it's great. I think it's great for the sport. It's interesting now that there's like the NIL deals or whatever. Like people are getting paid. They're flashing watches on stage. They're getting hyped. It literally reminded me of WWE, and I'm all in. I'm all for it. I love it. I wish the NFL had that. Mike McDaniels is kind of like the closest thing we have to like somebody just goofing around and like enjoying that he's actually coaching instead of Bill Belichick just like throwing flags like in front of the ref's face. It's great. So good for Dion. Big Dick Energy. He's getting it. He might have it for the whole season. Who knows?
It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a show. And so often sports aren't because we get caught up in the business and these coaches are so serious and they take it so seriously because millions of dollars are on the line. I love the idea of it's not that serious. We work hard. You can tell Dion's working hard. Those players are working hard. They're playing well. He's got this coaching staff that everyone loves. Apparently they're preparing their asses off and they're winning, but they're not taking it too seriously, which I love. So next week, Colorado at Oregon. That's a number 10 team. And then USC comes to Colorado in 2 weeks. So even if Colorado beats Oregon, they'll be like number 5 in a matchup with number 4 USC, Caleb Williams, but they're at home. We'll see. That could be the game of the year here in 2 weeks.
I'm excited. I might watch. We'll see. I know this weekend we're busy on Saturday, maybe when the game's on, so we might not.
Let's talk about that for a second. Yeah. Why did mutual friend schedule? We're not even college football people, and we're somewhat pissed, right? Because it's the best college football weekend of the year. And we're going to be tied up. We're going to be tied up at a wedding.
Tied up. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll sneak it on. He said there was TVs there, so who knows?
Thank God we're not college football people. If we were, I think I'd have to change the invite.
I know. Well, I was going to say, so our picks. So let's go back to the picks. My 5 in a week. I want to talk about it real quick. Last week, we talked 4 times. Me and mutual friend, we decide our picks. We go over it. Our last talk was... I came back from dinner. He was just drunk at home, and we discussed our picks drunk. And I said, if this works, I have a text like at night, it was like 9:00 at night on a Saturday. I said, if this works, we have to do this every Saturday night. So we might have to do it at his wedding and decide these picks on Saturday
You
night.
could be like, hang on, fiance, wife.
Yeah.
Can I just pull him away? We need some time.
Yeah, we need 30 minutes. Go decide the picks. We decided last minute. We changed a few games out, and it felt good. So we went 5-0. We can talk about some of the games. We don't have to go back, but I do want to talk about some games this week too. So any games you want to talk about from last week, or I guess
Chargers Titans. You were riding that one. It was not looking good for most of the game. You're on the Chargers side. The Titans never seemed to make a play, but they were winning most of the game, which I think is the biggest indictment on Staley you can think of. Like I can't name one play the Titans made, and they were winning the whole time until they weren't. In overtime, the Titans finish it off. But Staley keeps losing these games that he shouldn't be losing. Herbert's putting up great stats. The offense is fine. Staley's supposed to be a defensive coach, and they look lost on defense two weeks in a row.
Well, yeah, it's weird because like you get scared by the Chargers because you know they can throw up points, but then you don't get scared by Tennessee, but somehow they win. I don't think Tannehill is the answer there. I don't think he's that good. He just barely gets by. It's a very weird situation. Like you look at all the games, like even the Arizona Giants game. I was like, there's no way Arizona can do anything here. And they were up 20-0 in the half. And it was wild. So it's like, is Arizona good or are the Giants really that bad, even though they came back to win? It's a weird week 2 of football because I think there was a lot of assumptions for a lot of teams. And I think we're kind of seeing what's true, what's false. And we kind of know that like Miami's pretty good. I'm still not sure Dallas is good. I still have my questions about Dallas.
You know their defense is good. Michael Parsons has been on a wrecking ball so far.
But they're also not playing teams that I think are good, right? Like, do you actually think the Giants are good? Do we think that...
You almost had an Adam Thielen touchdown back there. That would have been nice.
Adam Thielen first score of the game.
So when we record on Mondays, there's live action going on. It's crazy.
I know. It's just been a weird 2 games for Dallas, so I want to see how they do next week. But I also... The big thing, Jeremy, did we talk about this last week about Aaron Rodgers? Did we talk about Sportstradamus and you predicting his downfall of the season?
We should talk about it because I was in. The reason we didn't talk about it last week is I was in New York City the night that Rodgers was hurt. And let me tell you, Mike, we've been there. We've been in New York City on a terrible time. Not
Hurricane Sandy.
The most terrible time, obviously, but a terrible time, which was Hurricane Sandy. And this one was right up there. People were groaning at the bars. People were coming out of bars like looking disheveled, like after the first drive. It was only 4 plays. I mean, it's crazy that the buildup was so high. We've been talking about it on our show, and every other show has covered it way too much in the offseason of the Rodgers show and the Jets show. And it's all over because watching Zach Wilson play, we all know the Jets are going nowhere.
I got to pull the audio for next week, but you literally said he's going to have a catastrophic injury first week, and then that was it. And he did.
And I really formed that take on draft night, the night of the first round of the draft, when the Jets were in position to add a starting offensive tackle after they were already about to get Aaron Rodgers. Remember that trade wasn't official around the NFL draft, but it was about to happen in the days after. We all knew who's heading to the Jets, and we knew the Jets offensive line needed to be upgraded. And what happened was Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots traded their pick. They were right in front of the Jets. They traded their pick. It's like, why would Belichick get out and let the Jets have someone? That's so weird. He traded with the Steelers, Mike. The Steelers knew Belichick knew the Steelers needed an offensive tackle. Belichick worked with the Steelers. Steelers came up. They got the last potential starter in the draft. The Jets did not take an offensive tackle. And the play that Aaron Rodgers was hurt on to make it all come back to that draft night is it was a right tackle, Dwayne Brown, 38 years old, signed as a free agent because they could not add a starting right tackle in the NFL draft. So they had an old man doing cut blocks. You saw the thing about the cut blocks, and apparently Rodgers doesn't like that. If they had a real offensive line, they're probably not doing that. It all goes back to Belichick, the Steelers, and this Dolphins fan predicting exactly what would happen.
Is the big thing, you saw a lot of people speak out about the turf. Is that actually a thing that people want to get rid of? Like, I don't know how you get rid of it in an indoor stadium. Like, how does Vegas grow grass on the inside of their stadium?
Well, they're spending so much money on these stadiums. Figure it out. Like, Arizona is an indoor stadium. They have this amazing grass on carpet. They roll it out.
But it was built that way. It was built to roll in and out. They didn't build
What is the MetLife Jets excuse? They play outside.
Oh, they have turf there.
That's a turf field where it happened. It was in New York, and that they play outside. We've been there.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It makes sense, but I guess I don't know enough. Like, you don't get much give on turf as you do on grass, so I could understand.
The other one was in Cincinnati last year. We were watching that game at Whole Foods, and Tua's head hit the turf, and that was real turf, and he was never the same after that.
I also wonder though, like an Achilles injury, like even Durant had an Achilles injury, right? He tore his Achilles just like doing a little jump shot. I think sometimes it's just built into you, right? Like that's something you're gonna tear just the way you're walking or something like that. Like I think it's there. Like if you're not predisposed to an Achilles injury, is that something that's always gonna happen? Right? Like I don't know.
When was he predisposed then? Because he's dropped back thousands and thousands of times without tearing it.
He got old. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Like as you get older, maybe it's something that could likely happen more. I don't know. I don't know Achilles injuries. I know that like my Achilles hurt sometimes when I'm running. I'm like, oh, am I gonna snap my Achilles? Like, how does this happen?
Are you predestined at 39 to tear yours too?
So I'm getting up to Aaron Rodgers.
Your 39th year is coming. I love the conspiracy. Not my idea. Can't take credit for it, but there is a conspiracy out there that Aaron Rodgers. Remember when he was hand in hand with Randall Cobb walking off the field last year? We all thought he was done on the Packers. It turns out he actually retired after that. This is a conspiracy theory. He retired after that. And Roger Goodell and the NFL machine came and said, hey, we want you to celebrate you. We want to celebrate you. The script writers. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's trade you to the Jets and do this whole training camp thing, sling some passes. We'll have Hard Knocks come and capture you. Okay. We're gonna make you seem like a normal guy again, is what we're gonna do. We're gonna repair your image. That's what you're getting out of it. What are we getting out of it? An NFL off season of storylines. And so they had him slinging it on Hard Knocks. They had him going out to Taylor Swift and the Knicks. And it was always in the plan. Rodgers always in the plan. Right. Wait. Always in the plan to do 4 plays with the Jets. And on the 4th play, you act like you fell and you sit down on the ground. You sit down on the ground. Okay. There was something weird. And that's why the conspiracy, this one made it to my timeline, because he got hurt, but he didn't get hurt. He's kind of walking and then he just sits down. And that was the moment that the script writers were like, just sit down and we'll take care of it from there. And all he had to do to collect his payment from the NFL, this undercover conspiracy idea, was to just sit down after 4 plays.
Okay. I listen, I don't hate it. I don't know if I love it, but I will say there are some weird conspiracies in the NFL, because did you watch the San Francisco Rams game with Sean McVay covering the spread, the 7.5 spread?
He covered the spread.
He covered the spread. There's literally seconds left. And you're like, let's go kick a field
goal. It was the last play of the game. 4 seconds left, down 10. So you physically can't win the game. There's no way to score 10 points in 4 seconds.
No way.
But he kicked a field goal to cover the 7.5 point spread.
I think.
So did he bet the game? What do you think?
Listen, McVay is around our age. I think he's like 38 years old. There is no way that man is not aware of the point spread. You can't even go watching ESPN or Fox anywhere without seeing a point spread somewhere. I'm sure it's in his mind. I'm sure he wants to cover the spread. And if that's true, I will 100% be betting with McVay this season, because he's aware of the spread and he wants to cover it. That's the only reason why. And there might be some I was weirdly concerned, because I feel like the NFL could definitely crack down on something like that, where they're like, look, you can't just go out there and do this, but there's no way to actually prove it. But if he keeps covering the spread with these weird end of game plays, something could come up. He might get fined. I don't know what it is, but it was definitely a little dicey, a little sketchy. But good for McVay. Covered the spread. Good for him.
Good for McVay. No, he lost. Not good for McVay. He's not getting paid to cover the spread. He's there to win games.
He might be getting
paid well for a time. He might be. So I would say McVay is too smart and too rich to directly bet on it himself. Okay. Are there backdoor channels that coaches, that NFL personnel are using? Yeah, they're probably doing that a lot. And that's how they get their bets done, because we see the players who don't use back channel who are getting caught. And so you can't do it right out in front of us. I also think there was a stat that I had heard where Shanahan owned Sean McVay against the spread, where Kyle Shanahan just continues to beat him. It was apparently a topic. We don't listen to LA Sports Talk Radio. Maybe that was a topic here. I don't know if LA Sports Talk Radio talks about the Rams. That's a different thing. In most cities, it's a big deal locally. Your NFL team, not here. We saw there's more Niners fans than Rams fans at the game. They always take over, which is always impressive. So anyway, maybe McVay just kept hearing. You can't beat Shanahan against the spread. You'll never beat him against the spread. You don't know how to cover. And maybe he's like, fuck you. I want to cover this one just for fun. And maybe that's what it was.
I mean, it's something's there, because it is a weird play. Like at some point, it's like you're trying to take a shot for the touchdown, right? You're trying to go for the touchdown. Even though
and if there's 30 seconds left, you kick the field goal, onside kick, Hail Mary. You can win the game technically, and that's probably what you do. The weird thing was there was only time for the field goal. There was never time for anything else.
All right, last topic. is the Russ experiment done in Denver? And I know Colorado's booming right now. Dion is the champ in Colorado right now. Russell Wilson and Sean Payton are not the combo they were looking for. I think Russ is done. And I've been calling it for a year and a half. No one wants to believe me. It's over. Seahawks are smart. They got Geno Smith back there slinging balls around. No problem. They knew what they had. They're like, Russ is done. He can't do it anymore. We need somebody.
If there's one thing it's the Seattle Seahawks. And know Russ was cooking for many, many years. And now Russ is cooked.
He's actually cooked.
Done.
He's done.
Because Sean Payton's not cooked. We all respect Sean Payton. We all don't think it's his fault. I mean, they lost a tough game. The Hail Mary, the interference on the 2-pointer. Maybe they should have gone to OT on that. I'm not blaming Peyton. He's got to go in there, and as he said, he's got to fix shit. He kind of said that recently too, in that quote about Hackett, how bad it was. Russ is down bad, and now they are 0-2. Right? Did they lose last week?
Yeah, I think
to the Raiders, or did they win?
I can check.
They won that game against the Raiders. I think Raiders may have covered.
Oh yeah.
But I think they're 1-1, heading to Miami. They're going to lose that one, go to 1-2. And I think we've been talking on this podcast more than others that
No. They lost to
the Raiders.
They lost to the Commanders.
They played the Raiders in week 1.
Yeah,
I think they won because the Raiders aren't 1-1 now. Did
Yeah.
Jimmy G beat them?
No.
Jimmy
They
G?
lost both weeks. They're 0-2.
Okay, so they are 0-2. Back up against the wall. They're going to be 0-3, as you mentioned earlier, going down to Miami. The Dolphins are clicking well. Hopefully, it's not a letdown game for them. How long is the leash for Russ? I think it's super short. We've been talking, I said on this podcast, Sean Payton brought in Stidham, and he paid him pretty solid money to be the backup. I don't think it takes long to go there. I think Russ will be.
What week do we want to say Russ is in? What's their bye week? I could say either before or after bye week, but
schedule, because how bad does it get, right? Because they're going to be 0-3. Who do they play?
I say if they go 0-4, this week they are playing Miami, so they're definitely going 0-3. They're not going to beat Miami. If they go
to Chicago. That's winnable. They go to
that is
Justin Fields is in worse shape than Russell.
He's pretty bad.
And then the Jets, they might get some wins in October. So I'd say there's a big game at the Chiefs on a Thursday night. Probably after that is when they pull them. So I'd say they pull them mid-October.
If they don't beat Chicago, I think it's over. I think Russ is
They don't beat Chicago. The next week against the Jets. That's a tough spot to bring your backup in against that Jets defense, the one part of their game that's playing well. But I listen to you on all things Russ and Seattle. So we were both on Seattle yesterday. We both knew they'd cover. That was a nice bounce back game. Because you taught me, Mike, week 1 is a lie and don't overreact to it. So I'm actually going to use that segue for now that we have 2 weeks of data points.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you have 2 weeks, it's week 3. We're all facing week 3.
Sure.
Many of the people listening are in our Run Your Pool or their own pools.
Yeah.
What data point do you go with? Because so often, not everyone's the Dolphins. Not everyone has 2 nice wins. So often you have an ugly and a good and an ugly. You don't know which is which. What are the data points? What do you do for week 3 when you have multiple competing things going on?
It's not just numbers. It's also a lot of like eye test and public movement, right? So if we're like, oh, Giants suck, Arizona sucks too, and that's kind of like people are jumping on New York, right? And they're just blindly betting it. I think this week is a week where you have to really know where the public's going, try to stay away, try not to bet the big public games because you might not get as much value, and try to go for some of the games that are like this week. I tentatively put some likes here. This week, I like Arizona plus 13 at home playing Dallas. I know their defense is tough, but it's 13 points at home, a 13-point home dog. It is a lot of points. I'm looking for a ton of points. Even like the Jacksonville Jaguars at -8.5 against Houston, I might lean to Houston just because that's a lot of points. We don't know if Jacksonville's that good. We don't know if Kansas City's really that good either because they've played like not great teams. And tonight we're going to see, is Pittsburgh like actually bad, or are they really bad? Or are they okay? We're going to kind of see. I don't know. Week 3's hard, but Vegas does not catch up that fast. It's slight. They do slight adjustments. Week 4 is when we're going to kind of see the shift happen a little bit because they're going to kind of see like where people are betting.
Well, you have a majority after week 3. You have 3 data points. I'm just thinking in my head, so often teams are 1-1 right now, and they played a good game and a bad game. And to your point, you don't know. So you're looking to emphasize the big spreads. Listeners of this show will know after many years, you're never going to bet on a home favorite that's -8 or -13. You're always going to go to the other side of that. Although this week, interestingly enough, if you did that on the big Cowboys line, the big Bills line, you do cover some of those. So it's not a hard and fast rule.
No, it's not hard and fast, but you definitely got to feel it out, see if there's some games. But you have to pick 5 games, right? And that's the hard part in the contest. You have to pick 5 games. So I don't know. This week is a tough one. Last week was tough. We changed our mind quite a bit. But like, I feel like Tennessee against Cleveland. Tennessee's on the road. They're getting 4 points at this point. Like, the opening lines are at 4. I'm leaning Tennessee. I don't know what Cleveland's doing tonight.
Well, you don't know. You don't have that second data point on Cleveland. And the first one was in the rain against Bengals, and maybe they suck. So it's hard to say on the Browns.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to see. But like I just like initial reactions at the beginning of the week. It's fresh. Anybody scoring the game yet? No one scored.
There's no touchdowns. This game, no wonder they put up 4 o'clock on a Monday. There is no scoring in this game.
Good. I still have Thielen to score. But it's a weird week. So how did you do last week when you were picking? What was your strategy? I will say, overall though, this pool is competitive. I did not expect there to be that many people tied right now for 4th place. Like, there's 7 wins, 3 losses out of the first 2 weeks. That is crazy. There's almost half the league at shooting very high percentage right now. So it is.
Well, like you said, Vegas doesn't know early on, right?
Yeah, but it's also like, I mean, you can tell some people that are either getting lucky or actually losing. Like, a few people at the bottom here have no idea how to gamble.
I love those. There's a few zeros.
There's a few pretty bad ones. But I think it's more competitive than I thought. And this is more pressure than I felt in the Super Contest because it's a smaller pool. And I feel like I have to perform, and it's hard.
Well, listen, as you know, you are the king of research and data points and stens and trats. You're always teaching me something about it. And you know, I was traveling last week. Like I said, I was in New York City. I didn't look at the books till Friday. Okay. I put down some thoughts. I did a little Twitter on the plane, and then I clocked them in on Saturday. That was my research for the week. I'm 5-5, and so I think I'm overshadowed a little bit. I'm exactly where I want to be. I've never been in a pool like this. 5-5 through 2 weeks is great. I was looking for one more yesterday, but it didn't happen, and that's okay. So I'm overshadowed by your 5-0 week, but I'm not sad about
everybody's still in the running for the first quarterly payout. We got 2 weeks left. It's literally anybody's game, and somebody could go 0-5 next week and just drop. Sneaky Pete right now in our pool. He's leading the pack. I don't even know this guy, and he's doing really well. He's almost perfect. He's lost 1 game in the last 2 weeks. I don't know that person. I don't know that person.
That's really good. He's a sharp for sure. You bet the Thursday night game last week, right?
No, I did not.
Some people did.
I bet it personally, like money wise, but I didn't bet it.
Okay.
I liked Philly. Who scored? Anybody?
No one. Still, you're still good.
Okay, I saw that.
Mike's got an Adam Thielen first touchdown bet that will hit in the 4th quarter. It seems like.
I do have some stats for week 3 if we want to go through them.
Let's hear.
These are stats that we pulled in 2021.
And this is the segment, by the way. This is a segment of the show where Mike tries to confuse the listener. So go ahead. Let's set it up.
I'm not fooling the listeners, but there's just
confusing the listeners.
There's just a lot of different teams that are. These are stats. It's not confusing. You have to digest these stats and spit them out in a way that helps you. Since 2010, 0-2 teams against non-0-2 teams. So any team that has won a game, they're 59% against the spread. I don't know what games those are this week that are playing. There's a few 0-2 teams here.
So the Broncos are 59% to cover against the Dolphins, is what you're saying. Yes,
that's what we're saying. And then also, 0-2 teams against the spread are 62% in week 3. So there's like 2 different kind of stats there. Just in general, 0-2 teams are 62% against the spread, and teams 0-2 straight up, while also 0-2 against the spread, are profitable week 3, 65% in the last 10 years. So that means if you bet straight up and against the spread on a team this week, you could make some money 65% of the time, which I don't know what other teams are 0-2. What are the records here? I have to look at the records.
The Cardinals are 0-2.
Okay. Who else is 0-2? Is
the Patriots would be 0-2.
Are Chargers 0-2?
The Chargers are 0-2.
Chargers.
The Bengals are 0-2.
Oh, okay. All right.
The Steelers might be 0-2.
They might be 0-2. They might be
when
0-2.
Big Ben's listening, he might be rage listening when they're 0-2. Or maybe they're 1-1 and Kenny Pickett came back. We don't know.
Are there any games this week that you're liking? I can look for some more. I'm just trying to like browse through some of
It's a
these.
little early on Monday. I do have a topic for you on this
Yeah.
subject, and it's for me something I feel like from the two games. Now we know the 2-0 teams like the Dolphins. I don't think they're going to stick that high. I'm a realist with my
Okay.
team, and I'm looking for opportunities to fade them. Is it a fade them at home against the Broncos? Maybe some of your stats say we should. I'm not going to go that far yet, but that's a thought. On the flip side of that, a team like the Bengals, who I think are good, they were my Super Bowl pick here 2 weeks ago. Joe Burrow went on one of my favorite podcasts. Shout out, by the way, to our boy Kevin Clark, formerly of The Ringer, now of ESPN, is a new podcast. This is football. We don't hype our competitors, but his podcast is really good. Joe Burrow came on the show.
Is he really just like an interview pod or?
Yeah, very similar to what he's doing, like Slow News Day at The Ringer. But he had Dan Marino on. He had Ryan Fitzpatrick, so he's rotating some guests. It's you learn a lot listening. So anyway, he had Joe Burrow on a couple weeks ago, and Joe Burrow admitted to him that he does not read the field well in the first 2 weeks of the year. His eyes just don't catch up to the rest of his body. Of course, he has the calf that's separate. I know he's hurt, and that's a real thing.
I don't think he's
to deal with
next week, though. I think
they play Monday, maybe some extra time. We'll see. He had the Theragun on the sideline. Maybe that was helping him out. Get it done. So anyway, the calf injury notwithstanding, Joe Burrow went on his podcast and said he doesn't see the field well the first 2 weeks of every year. You go back to it, they were 0-2 last year. They go to the AFC Championship game. So a team like the Bengals, if he can prove he's healthy from his calf, that's going to be a team I'm looking for value on. So again, the 0-2s will come up, the 2-0s will come down. My question to you, what do you do in the middle? Okay, the Cardinals are thoroughly confusing, right? They gave the Commanders a run in week 1, going cross country. They almost won that game. They should have beat the Giants. Bad second half. A team like the Colts are a surprise team with your boy Richardson. They're running all over. I know he's concussed. Hopefully he's back. But it's like, what do you do with the teams in the middle? The teams that you're like, is this real? You don't really know. And you don't know. You don't have much to go on.
The great thing is you don't have to bet on all the games. So it's the ones that you have the best feel for are the ones you have to go. Like, it's hard to like scan the whole lineup and be like, I can tell you a side on every game. It's way too hard. You just have to look at it and be like, I know enough and I watched enough of this game that I can understand what they're doing. Honestly, that, Josh Dobbs, sorry I called him a cancer patient. He looks great. He looks great.
You should apologize. Yeah, you should.
He's
slinging it.
He's slinging it around. He's looking great. And I don't know. Do you take that 13 points this week? Maybe, but I don't. It's a hard feel, and it's scary too to take some of these really bad teams. And we took, teams that are questionable, but week 3 is hard. It gets harder too because as the season goes on, you're trying to go back to the games, but oh, they were bad here, they were bad here. So does this mean this team's really bad or is this really a good team?
It's hard to pull in too much.
It's so much. And so week 3, hopefully is still Vegas did not catch up yet and over adjust. And I think week 4, week 5 is when they start. That's when we start as a team
falling off.
We fall off pretty hard in 4 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so just get ready. So that's why it's anybody's game. That's the tough part about it.
5-0, really impressive, but you got to keep it going. They don't crown champions in week 2. The Dolphins aren't champions, and neither are you. Not yet.
I wish.
Before we go, can we do a quick J-Dog takes on?
Yeah, let's do it.
J-Dog takes on.
This is an easy one. If you watch any Red Zone, you know it's Zach Wilson. He is so terrible. He is so bad, Mike. He got this opportunity. What a golden opportunity. The Jets moved on. They said, we're done with our top pick. We paid you all this money. We don't need you. And now they do. Now they're coming back. What a feeling in life for people to run back to you with open arms. We want you, Zach. We want you to play well. We want you to be our guy. We want you to lead us. The opportunity is there. The mentorship is there. He's been working with Rodgers. The phone still works.
It wasn't that
Rodgers
long of a mentorship, right? It was off-season training.
It was the whole Hard Knocks, which felt never-ending if you're watching the episode. And the pressure's off, right? Because he was his top pick, and New York was coming for him when he was struggling. But now you add Rodgers. It's like we had no expectations on Zach Wilson. Expectations are off. Everything should be set up for him to do well in the situation. Just dink and dunk and let the defense work. But instead, yesterday, he was unwatchable. I think if they had Mike White still, they would have gone to Mike White in that game. That's the level that Zach Wilson's at. There was a quote that I saw that he said after the game. He said, it's a shame because I really saw the field well for 3 quarters. It was 30-9 after 3 quarters. And that's Zach Wilson being happy at his performance. This guy is a joke. This guy is a fraud. This guy is overpaid. This guy needs to be out of the NFL. This guy needs to be out of the NFL quicker than Johnny Manziel was out. Colin Kaepernick should be on the field before Zach Wilson ever throws another pass. Shannon Sharp had a great quote. This is my last one this morning on whatever show he does now. He said,
I think he's back on ESPN, right? Or no,
I think he
Fox.
is. Yeah. No, he's with Stephen A. now. He is.
A.
Shannon Sharp said, Zach Wilson couldn't play dead in a horror movie.
That's good.
And that's like the perfect, like where do you go from there? It's
I like that a lot. Yeah. It's, in a way you almost feel bad for him, but I think it's tough because you were there. And I also think in your head, you were expecting to sit on the bench all year and like, just be there. Just be there. Aaron Rodgers. It's the Aaron Rodgers show. You're there. I think he might have not studied enough. Maybe didn't understand what was going on. And now he's here. It could also be coaching. Like, I don't know if that coach does not inspire anything at all. That man is not
Hackett's
inspiring.
coaching the offense. We know how that went last year with Russell, and they have Salah, the head coach. I don't know.
I want to see what he does this week. They're playing New England at home.
You had a hint of optimism there, so look out for Mike taking the Jets against New England here.
We'll see. It's a weird week, but I do like that 0-2 stat. I have to go back through and mark all the 0-2s because those are interesting games. Because Cincinnati can't start the season 0-3. That'd be crazy. So we'll see.
If it's Browning, the backup quarterback on Monday Night Football against the Rams, it's a good chance it's 0-3.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully the line's locked.
We didn't even talk about Cam Akers kicked off the team, even though he's healthy.
Yeah, well, so I don't even know what was going on. It's just like he cleared out a locker room, was gone, and then that was it. It was just like he's getting traded.
I think the quote from someone was he doesn't embrace the Rams way, or he doesn't act like a Ram, whatever that means.
I don't know. A lot of drama there, but they still seem to play okay. So
yeah, they do. They play the Niners okay, as they covered.
And that Puka guy is good. Everybody loves Puka in fantasy.
Puka's really good. Is he just the Cooper Kupp, like the same guy, just 14 catches a game, catches everything? It's like just insert guy.
Yeah,
here.
I think it's just like the playbook is like insert player here and you're good in this position. So that's what you do. And who knows if he's going to be good. Maybe he'll become a Van Jefferson after Cooper Kupp comes back.
A Van Jefferson, we'll see. So many storylines. The NFL is lit up already, and we got Dion in college. It's like we go both ways now.
I do want to just mention picks, just as this is our show for the week, so I just want to mention the picks. This is where I'm leaning so far. I'm just going to go through. We don't have to talk about them. We can talk about them next week. I'm leaning Miami against Denver at home, -6.5.
You don't normally do that. I can't imagine you actually placing that one. Just so you know.
We'll see. New England, right? These are initial leans. New England at on the road, playing the Jets. Seattle at home -4.5.
What's that line? I like the New England side of that. What's that line?
Right now it's -2.5 for New England.
At Jets?
At Jets.
Really?
Yeah, Jets are +2.5 at home. I like Seattle -4.5 at home, playing Carolina. We'll see how they play tonight.
They
not
don't
too
score
inspiring right now.
We know that. We know they don't score.
Short
week going west. I like that one.
And then Arizona at home playing Dallas, getting 13 points feels really good. And then the Rams, Sean McVay, cover machine, playing Cincinnati, maybe with no Joe Burrow. So those are the games I like so far, but I'm sure they'll change.
The Rams, you have confidence now. Like if they're down late, they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna cover for you.
So much confidence. I'm just like, oh yeah, he'll just kick a field goal, make sure we cover, or he'll go for 2 for no reason at all and just get the 2 points. So
I love that. We'll have to keep monitoring that and start tracing his text after games to see who he's working with.
It was a crazy weekend too, because I feel like every game came down to there were 2 overtimes, came down to the last second. It was a crazy weekend. It was good.
Football is very back. We're gonna miss all the college games, but shout out to the mutual friend. He's getting married, but it's not a wedding; it's just a dinner. Make of that what you will. The bachelor party, the highlight of it all already happened. We've recapped that, so
it's done.
There's nothing else to say on that.
That's it. Go check out thesportshangover.com. Go get some swag. See ya. Good show.